afternoon, guys.
Police department, you mean get the next when we present the budget to you today.
Okay.
We have gone through this and discussed it and
Digested it?
tore it apart, adjusted it, and did whatever we could.
Okay.
So I'm gonna let him take center stage here, and if there's anything that he can't answer, or if there's a comment that I need to make on it, I will do that. But this is going to be his budget, not my budget, so I'd rather he have the opportunity to work through the budget and explain everything that he needs to and justify areas that may or may not be increased.
And they have the salary scale you gave me, they have your account detail, and they also have the service contract, for 25.
For 25,
For
good.
reference.
Okay. Stephen?
You want to give us a little overview, just an overview?
Sure. As of today, or yesterday, we're down like 3% in calls. It's only like 200 over the course of the year. We're down about 100 or so offense reports, which is crimes reported to the police department. We're down about 130 arrests. We're down about 5% of accidents. And we're up about 30% for traffic enforcement. As you know, we have 4 vacancies, patrol officer vacancies. Detectives, they're working hard. You know, we're getting inundated with search warrants, you know, that it's getting harder and harder to get data from cell phones or computers. We've had a couple this year where we've arrested people for child pornography. Luckily, there's a team in New Hampshire that helps out. So as far as search warrants go, they do the majority of that. So we've been pretty active with detectives. Patrol, you know, we are thin, but we're still out there handling calls, trying to do what's right and be in areas that people are either complaining about or that we need to be at, such as the school zones. So we're trying to do what we can with the resources we have.
I have a question. Looking at this list here, it shows that you are out 2, and I realize you just lost 2 more, so that's where the 4 comes from. But the 2 that you're out, it says, on the default budget on the 25, it said the pay would be $70,373. That's on, so I will give you the line number here. That's under a patrolman,
111?
117.
117, there's 2 of them, 117, okay?
Well, why don't we open, can we just open 0142100101 and go down to 0142101141? So that will take in John's questions.
Okay, all right. And my only reason I'm asking that question, the bottom of Prescott Hill, Laconia has had a sign there for a couple of weeks. Policeman, 68 or 60, $68,000.
65,000.
And change. Well, it shows here that it says it's 70,373. Is that's a gross number? Where do we? I mean, I've heard that we can't compete with their pay scale.
116 and 117.
That's my.
117 and 18.
Yes, 17 and 18. So basically what he's asking is if there's a sign in Laconia that's saying, what, 65 whatever.
Yeah.
But we're showing here 70.
So.
What number are you, what column are you looking at?
All right,
Over on
so
default,
On
he's
the
looking over on
D25
default.
default.
I'm going to say that those numbers are put in there because of the officers that we lost.
Okay, so they were at 76, which is the budget within cost items, is 70, the upper one, which is 76,834.
So if you look at 121 and 122, those are
See,
brand new officers.
The 54027.
Okay.
okay.
So it just happens that
Thank you.
And also, if you wanted a true account of their true salary, these numbers also have, their vacation at that payout that they get at the end of the year, which you could subtract at least a couple thousand from that number, because they're all included in that one number for their salary.
Well, it seems to be the shortfall of the taxpayers and I guess of us, the select people, that we didn't have enough money to buy offices. And that's what you're doing. We knew that when they come out with $2,000 to show up to go to work, bonus. What's it take to hire an officer now?
Shouldn't we, though, budget those 2 vacancies at the starting rate instead of the increased
The only
rate?
problem with that is if we have somebody certified that comes in, we don't have money to pay them. And if that's, I mean,
So what you're saying is the 54, say, the next 2 lines below, that would probably be somebody that's uncertified.
correct.
Okay,
Starting.
and what you're saying is the 73, you're better, you would put a certified police officer at that amount.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, your 121 and your 122 are your grant positions that you have to hire at the starting pay, so that's why those are in there at the starting pay. And then, exactly like you said,
Yeah.
the 2 above were positions that were already here for a while. You don't wanna put those back at 0, cause then you're stuck with not being able to
Get
hire a
anybody.
seasoned person.
mhm,
And then the police budget's a little different because we are gonna do the warrant article, so they have an extra line or 2 in there, so, we have to break out the warrant article for the difference in their, salary and the difference in the, benefits. So that's why you have a.
so that's for the union,
The union
yeah, okay,
people, yeah.
all right, got it.
So you have the warrant article cost item, and then you have which is the difference between what their old contract is and what we want them to be, so that's what that will go forward with. And then, right before the default, I gave you the total with the cost item, so you could see what that true person's, proposed salary with their, holiday pay is going to be. So these aren't their true salaries, but it's accounting for PD, it's holiday pay. We don't have education stipends like fire does.
So 116, is that the person, no, that's a person still here. Aries?
Yeah, they left after these were done, so.
Okay, that's what I thought, so that one's gone.
111 and 116 are vacant positions.
Okay.
And then since you have opened up the discussion for the salaries,
Mhm.
I would make a suggestion to change, since, recent events today with the changes to.
Right.
The police, the chief position and the captain position, I would recommend I'm still not 100% on where and if and when you brought in a captain, where they would ultimately start off at, so I think you would be fine to leave the 106 for the captain line, but my suggestion would be to make the chief line at the, 112, 425.
Is that what it was?
I don't think we're gonna be able to bring a captain at that rate, though, I feel like that's gonna be pretty high for a new captain coming in. He's been serving for a while at that position now. I mean, I definitely think we can bring that down something.
I think you'll probably land at 101. For the captain position, if not lower. But it depends.
What was the number for the chief again, sorry, 112?
112, 425.
425.
And certainly chief and.
And
captain
obviously-
give their opinion too as to
Right.
what they think, whether it be an internal move or an external, candidate, someone with experience and without a captain experience, what we'd be looking at.
And obviously, as I brought up, we don't know when, and we're not in a rush to fill that position, because he has other people that he could, point, I guess, or however you do that, as being,
In the role, but not.
right, right, okay.
But I would imagine they would wanna pay incentive. Right?
Unlike some administrators that are gonna change and leave, a lot of administrators, I'd say, like to make the internal promotions before they leave, because there's certain people that they feel should be in positions that the other person that's taking over may not approve of. That's not the case here, so you know that. Anything that's going to take place, any promotionals that are gonna happen between now and March, if that were to happen, are not gonna be my choice. So, when I left this in Steve's hands, we've had conversations about the fact that this is going to be his house when I leave. So he has to set his house and keep his house the way he needs it, and trust the people he's gonna have underneath him, the positions they're gonna occupy. So I'm not gonna interfere with that by thinking, or by saying, you should do this, you should do that, we should move this person here. That's not my game. I'm not that way.
Well, and we did talk about that this morning. And, you know, here we are with 4 vacancies. That's huge,
It is.
huge. Let's go back to the pay for these vacancies, the monies to attract, I mean, again, here we go, playing with, switching one line to another. I mean, obviously, you know, one of these guys are at 59, Sitka that's leaving, that's left or whatever, and they're at 67. I don't know who the other vacancies were, that is at 70. But again, if that position is not filled, I would assume that if we got qualified guys, which, you know, what's Laconia advertising for? For unqualified,
They're just under 65,000, and they have a $4,000 bonus.
oh God, those freaking bonuses. Christ,
And they're,
pardon my
Was
French.
there a new sign out in the nineties? And who, I thought I saw a
I
sign.
saw it too,
Somewhere in the
65
90s.
to 90.
it is, it's 65 to 90 for
Oh, they
patrol.
changed they added the two
They
part.
did, yeah.
Before it was just the straight salary.
I'm not sure the duration on them, if it's 5 years, 7 years, 10 years to get to 90,000, or if it's.
Oh, is that what it is? Oh,
It's,
yeah.
it's,
Wow.
it's on a scale.
Which could change.
But
They can,
you-
they
but
can,
you
they
could
can
be a
promise them,
patrolman and make 90 grand
Right.
at the end of your tenure, but obviously, as you know, that's gonna continue to go up
mhm,
as budgets increase and salaries increase,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
It's a tough battle right now.
it is.
I mean, I took it as they're trying to also get more seasoned people, so they throw that bigger number out. And,
Yeah, because that 65,000 is only for starting uncertified.
right,
So, for example, if one of our guys decided after 4 or 5 years here, he decided, hey, you know what, I'm gonna jump to Laconia. They're gonna put him in as 5 or 6 year patrolman. So he may be going right from here, right into a $78,000 job,
Sure, yeah.
you know, right off.
But unfortunately for us, it's a losing battle to try and compete with Laconia. I mean, we're never gonna be able to compete with them, never.
Well, you're not going to, especially with this new increase. They wanted to be top in the county and they're there.
They did it.
They did it.
And we're not a city.
And we're not a city.
It's sad. Okay.
And I think when you look at the default number, he's got a tough battle with trying to, if he had to stay within those.
Yeah, to attract
numbers.
anyone.
If we didn't move forward with the bonuses, or if we weren't able to cut and make up the salaries in next year, I mean, you can see your increase and decrease again, remembering that the 25 default is really wages from 2023, and the need to have increased those over the last 2 years is why you see a little, well, some might say, wow, that's a huge increase in 1 year, but it's truly not, it's 2 years, and again, with a failed, union contract.
I did the math, and just in the wages and retirement, we'd have to make up over $384,000.
Right.
Like, it's over 230,000 in retirement and over 155,000 in wages we'd have to find. if it went default this year, which would be
And- and
extremely hard.
Was that for union and non-union?
Yeah, I went
Yeah.
through everyone.
Yeah. And that's kinda what we're doing this year, that's why
Yeah,
everyone.
I mean, it's even
does
more than
that.
this year, it would be even harder.
We can beat this to death. Should we be, I know you whip out the scale and, you know, the steps and whatever. Do we increase the starting? I mean,
I'm saying, I see what you're saying, if you're saying if we budget for someone, a higher step on the scale, and then if we do get someone that's uncertified, we can start them at the lower step,
I just think,
but budget for higher just in case.
I just think they need, or we all need, a little bit of, I guess, wiggle room, for lack of knowing what else. Because again, we're competing and we need to attract, okay? And I personally, I'm taking the positive role. I'm taking the positive role that there were so many people last year that were lackadaisic and did not come out and vote. And they were that sector of population that has a little bit more understanding of what's going on and want the police department there and wants the fire department and that kind of thing. And I think they got sleepy and didn't come and vote. So I'm taking the positive route, feeling that our budgets are going to pass. Does the school budget pass? I have no idea. May not my gig, all right? I'm worried about this at this point, all right? And not that I'm anti, obviously, educating children, but I think that, in all honesty, to get the state opening their eyes, I think some of these schools need to fail their budgets because it's gonna be a true eye-opening for the state. So I guess, if you hire a certified police officer, what do you start them at?
Depends on our years.
Depends on how many years. All right, let's just say I'm a I just came out of the academy, I'm a certified police officer. Now I'm gonna look for a job. I'm certified, I'm ready to go. What do you start me at?
Your base,
Base, which is what?
it might be base, but what would happen is generally you'd start at a base salary and then you would probably
6
after your
months.
probationary period or your FTO period, you'd make that one jump
Yeah,
because you are already certified and we don't have to send you to the
right,
academy.
right.
So there's gotta be a little perk there, or you're not
Right.
gonna hook that person either.
That's exactly right.
So,
How much for perk? $5 grand?
I usually a step,
A step.
But I
What's,
think you're also
start on one step,
combating
punch
the
him to another
union.
step.
You're also combating the union and you can't put him higher than someone else with the same
Mhm.
experience, so it's kind of a.
Right, so if we put somebody through the academy,
Mhm.
and now they're in their second year, you're gonna bring that person in, start them at that step,
Mhm.
because they're certified as well, they have the paper.
So I think back to my original question, should we be, at least for patrolmen, which is union, correct? Should we be bumping, and let's just say, and again, I don't know if it's gonna mess up what you got going right at the moment, but if we bumped, let's just say, right now, starting patrolman for non-certified versus certified, there's a say 5 and 5,000, just for conversation piece to start them. Should we be bumping them to 55 and 6?
what is step 2 on our scale?
I don't have the union scales with me.
No. I'm just,
Yeah,
you know,
they're all of their own contracts.
yeah. I mean, should we be stepping up?
But you also don't have an approved new scale, you have an
Right.
old scale at $23, when there, our new scale that we're trying to get to is at 29.
2972.
So you can't even,
We can't even do that because they're union.
Right, you'd have to,
Oh, that's
you'd have to open up
So
the
you have to
contract
wait.
again. And just, they negotiate not, what, August?
Yeah, that we'll start negotiating this year for next
I
year's.
mean, you could budget, but there's no guarantee.
So if the 2972 were to come through, if that was to pass, that's a lot closer than we are right now. And then during your negotiation period.
We bump it up,
You can change it then
all right.
and not go through the hassle.
So it's mainly getting that,
It needs to go, cause it puts them near that $30 an hour mark.
Okay,
at this point. So
all right,
that would be huge
yeah,
if we could get that, and they deserve that.
of course,
Cause even if we can get that one passed this year, and God forbid, next year when all three go up for negotiations, if those didn't pass, well, at least you've gotten them from
Right.
a better headway
A better
than
headway.
we were at.
all right, okay. All right. Does anyone have any questions?
How do you incorporate, if we were to, say, put that into this budget we're looking at right now, this 2972? How does that fit, how do you put that into a line? How does that break out into the math on
So
this?
that goes into your warrant article cost item, so basically what you have, let's just take, let's just say,
It was shot 4 officers.
let's say line 106, so the requested amount for 25 would be what they would naturally step to on the old scale. And then if you go over to the warrant article cost item, that's the difference between the old scale and the new scale that we want to. And then if you go down over to the next 2 columns and it says total budget with cost items, that's us budgeting with the hopes that that warrant article passes. If it doesn't pass, then that column that says warrant article cost items goes away, and then you're just left with the 25 requested. So the budget and then the warrant article kind of blend together if passed, if not, I just take it out. And then you can see the 25 requested in the warrant article, you add those together, it'll give you what's in that, and then that ties into my other worksheet, so. This is very difficult.
Oh, and I guess that's the other reason, I guess the other reason not to be, negative, all right? But if we end up with a default budget, you may not wanna fill that second position anyways, because you're gonna want those funds, all right? So that's, Yeah.
Budget defaults, you got some serious thinking to do, because it may cost them 2 positions.
Well,
Yeah.
you could default, but you could get your warrant article passed.
Which then forces it
The
into
warrant
the
So
default.
the warrant article is the most
That's a
important thing
shot.
to,
That is
that
very
just gives
important.
you your wages for your union people, but it doesn't help you with your non-union people.
Yeah.
So you'd still be making up the difference for your non-union if you default again.
Well, it'd be a lot easier to make up the 4 non-union than
On
the
5.
than the 12 union.
yeah, all right.
What are we at with the stipends? Is it 80% of the predicted weight that we wanted to get to, or is it at 100 now? Like, I know, remember we were trying to,
What, with the assessment?
with the stipends.
Oh, stipends.
So remember we were talking and we were at like 80% of what their wage was gonna be? Are we still at the 80 or are we at the 100 now?
No, we're at the 100,
Okay.
so we were at the 80 pre-town meeting, we went to the 100 after
Okay.
town meeting. And with all the departures, it's about 5,000 a month. It's slowly decreased. What has left? And those people who we were giving the stipends to are gone, so it's about a $5,000.
And the SRO officer is fine with what he's making?
He's paid by the district though, isn't he?
Right, right,
Paid
but
by district, but he's satisfied.
he's satisfied, because obviously if he wasn't, then,
I mean, he's at 35 an hour, he's killing everyone right now.
yeah, really,
I
really,
think there's some talks with the school about to increase that.
really. And are they still talking a second one?
No.
Remember back a while ago they were?
No, I did confirm, that is a rumor, that he said you can put it to rest, it's a rumor, he is not looking for a second one, he's
Okay.
very happy with the one he has.
Okay, good.
He's doing tremendous work, the kids love him, the school loves him,
Yeah.
they don't want a second one.
Good.
And
It's all
I
it,
confirmed that with Mike as well.
okay.
We'll talk about it.
And by having him in the schools, do your calls for the schools have decreased,
Yes,
obviously? Okay,
absolutely.
awesome. And if, well, those are juveniles, right? So,
Well, he covers all 3 schools.
Yeah, but if it's a juvenile, they can still go to court if there's something, right? Does he handle the court part, or does he rely on Dave?
Kind of both,
Okay.
and the juvenile probation
Okay,
officer.
all right,
So,
okay, just, you
It
know,
doesn't happen a lot,
no, thank the Lord.
yeah,
But he only, works in the school, he doesn't work in the PD at all,
correct.
so he's not a resource you could tap if you were shorthanded.
No,
Nope.
he's on the 1,300 plan, hour plan, so that 1,300 hours is eaten up by the school.
Okay.
He can't go above that, right?
And the agreement we had with the school anyway was not to take the SRO back out for
Right.
patrol work.
Right, yeah, I
Because we
remember
were doing that, and obviously now that left the school unprotected and they wanted somebody in there.
That's why they stepped
So
up
the
to the
agreement
plate
was
with that,
we would
Sharon,
take them out.
yeah.
I mean, if they're paying for him, yeah, it makes sense too. They're paying for him.
They're paying for them.
Yeah, and that's,
Well, we're paying for him.
They're paying us back for him.
Left hand, right hand, right? Yeah, yeah,
that is an offset of that 30, you know, with probably the taxes and everything, about 41 or 42,000, that is offset by the school system. But we still have to put it into the PD's budget, it just
Yeah.
comes in as an offsetting revenue.
oh, so it comes into the general fund,
Yeah.
not
It
to the
does.
PD.
Which again
but-
sucks, doesn't show a reflection in our
Right,
expenses, so I
right.
hate that.
Yeah, that's hard, it is hard, yep, all right. Do we have any other questions? You guys have any other concerns with this, at this point?
And mine was addressed, which was if we hit default with that big number, what the hell are we gonna do? But again, it's up in the air, I don't even know what the hell we could do.
And I do have actuals as of 10/1, if anyone wants any clarification on if he has spent a line or hasn't spent a line and where they're at as of 10/1. I don't know if you printed anything earlier than 10/1. As far as
I have
what's
today.
in there, or spent or left. What's your overtime?
So I got the overtime.
Again, he's
Current
doing-
overtime, 63,400 as of today.
We've been doing really well with control.
You have, I don't know how you're keeping it under with all your vacancies.
That's because I have salary employees working patrol.
Okay, but we're not on overtime yet, I was just gonna say, now you're messing me up here. Okay, that's the next line. Can I have a motion for this section? Is that what we did the other day? No, we didn't.
Yeah, we did section.
Did we do sections? Okay. So if there's no other question on this section, shall we,
Through 140, 101 through 140?
one,
141.
141.
141.
And I know you just moved on, but I also will want to note that the 2 grant positions, although they are funded fully in their budget, they do have an offsetting revenue from,
Yes.
with the COPS grant.
And only one of those positions are filled?
Oh, when do those expire? Is that coming up?
No, we just really started the COPS
Okay.
grant this year.
Is it for 3, and it's for 3 years?
2 of this year's, I think, so. 3 years, right?
Yeah, 3 years. So in reality, if we add the grants in, you really have 5 vacant positions.
5 vacant positions.
Right, if you include the 2 grants, although 1 is filled. So there's really 5 vacant positions. Okay.
And the total reimbursed, the total of the grant was 250,000 over the life of 3 years, so
Okay.
that's what we would get back.
And I believe if you hire somebody tomorrow, you can't put them in the grant, you have to put them in a vacant position, correct?
We did have a waiver for one of ours. We hired one with a grant and one without, and they let us do that, but I think at this point we have to.
Put them in a vacant position, got it,
Do
okay.
you see that you're gonna be able to fill these vacant positions hopefully in the next year?
We're gonna try, you know, we have a couple people that are interested, so I know there's 3 that are interested, we just gotta
Gotta
see where they're at.
Schmooze 'em. Schmooze 'em. All right, all right. Can I have a motion to accept, the first part of this budget?
014210-101 to 104210-141. There's your motion.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, we'll move on, to 014210-175, down to 014210-405.
Can I get an update on the vacation buyback number, where we're at?
Do the vacation buyback, I don't think anyone's put anything forward from what I have.
You want the number so far?
Yeah.
2,728 used so far.
Oh, it's not forward.
Out of the 10,
Yeah.
It's early.
it's,
Yeah, they normally come in
holidays are
December,
coming.
right, November,
Yeah.
December.
Although I think, because most of your staff uses their time, so.
I
and
know
even-
one week, Lori's got a week coming in,
She just did it.
so you have that?
Yeah.
Okay, I signed it, so.
So even in 23, we only used 28 of
Yeah,
that.
that includes Lori's.
Perfect.
so 10 is,
Max exposure, that's what I was questioning.
Oh, you wanna know what the max is?
No, it's 10, right? 'Cause that's what it says.
No,
Oh, so
I
it's
don't
max.
think I must have missed it. I can give you what the max is. Just give me a second. We budgeted
The
10.
10. yeah.
right,
But that's not what the max is.
Mm.
I'd say it's over 20,
Yeah, it's gonna be over 20.
25.
and the offsetting revenue from Belmont goes into the general fund also, I assume.
From Gilmington, you mean?
I mean, what did I say?
From Belmont,
Oh,
that's
Jesus.
us.
Gilmington I meant, sorry. And the new Humane Society, the new dog officer is working okay? That's a new person, right? Good. Yep.
So you know, the captain's gonna be working diligently to also fill the prosecutor position.
Yes, we discussed that this morning. Yes, we did talk about that this morning. It's gonna be huge, huge. Mhm.
So your non-union vacation buyback max, is 10,710. And your union, your union. Number is. Sorry, I'm trying to work off two screens on one computer. Vacation buyback for your union people is 19,342, so $30,000.
$30,000.
If I were to budget that at, which we don't, because not everyone takes it, so we kind of try to do a best guesstimate.
I'd say being at a third is where I feel I wouldn't wanna go lower than a third of the exposure.
And obviously, the health insurance, dental, whatever, is not, that's not the true number because we still have to add in. That's right, yeah.
Do you wanna increase that?
Well-
Travis?
Well, didn't you,
No,
didn't,
10,000's a third, I mean, it's weary, I prefer half, but 10,000, if that's, we haven't hit it yet, I'm okay with it still.
A lot of the people use their vacation, especially some of the younger, I say
through,
younger,
through the holidays.
people that don't have as much time on, they tend to use all of their vacation. They don't have any to roll over,
Yeah.
so.
Which section are we on, just so I don't get ahead of you? Are we going from where we did to the bottom?
175 down to 405.
Okay, then I do
Still
know.
on the first page.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I had a question about your equipment. What equipment that was needed that wasn't purchased this year because of the default?
2 cruises.
That's not equipment, that's leases.
So part of that is if there's, for example, the vests, I mean,
What
vests
line is he
are,
on?
fitted for the person, you know. We tend to see if they'll fit somebody else coming in if they're brand new, but, the past couple of employees that, have left, actually, the, municipalities have actually wanted to purchase them, so it goes back into the general fund. So we get reimbursed
Yeah.
for that, but, in the anticipation of new hires, that's why it's increased.
No, that's fine, I just didn't know if there was any equipment that we
And
didn't
there's
buy
an-
this year because we didn't have the money. more or
There's,
less.
Well, I mean, there are things, but it's, you know, we're gonna try to work on that later, so,
and it's, the vests do have an expiration date on them,
5 years.
5 years. Mm-hmm,
5 years of one bullet,
mm-hmm.
that's about it.
Mm.
Right.
Yep. I think we could call Al if we needed this.
Are you guys at the cruiser lease, or is that
Mm.
the next section?
That's next section.
Next section, yeah, we're not there yet. Anybody have any other questions on this part?
Not me.
Can I have a motion?
Yeah, and my question is, I hate the retirement system and we need to fix it, it costs too much money right now.
And wasn't there just a big thing
The
on?
retirement system
And
changes,
isn't
it's
there a
costing us
big
more
thing
and
on
more.
retirement that
Oh yeah,
they haven't
they're
funded it
hawking
enough?
on us now,
Yeah.
changing it back to the old system again.
Yeah,
Yeah, you'll see in the notes where there are New Hampshire retirements, so they did, I mean, it's a plus, it's a small savings, but they they gave us new rates for 25 till 27, so my formula has two formulas in it, so we have, you know, half the year at the old rate and half the year at the new rate. So I think it collectively, and I think I gave you the handout that showed, you know,
Yeah.
in your miscellaneous
Yeah, it
section,
was.
in the beginning of our meeting,
in the,
so,
yeah, it was,
um,
up where the agenda was.
yeah, I think it's, you know, probably roughly a $10,000 to $15,000 decrease overall with everyone, in the retirement systems, but it helps a little bit. And that's why if you question some of, like, why is the retirement requested less, it's because the rate is less in half the year. And then in 26, my rate will be the same rate.
I don't know when it's gonna happen, but we have to be ready for it to go back to the old system, the amount of pressure they're gonna put on, they're gonna go back soon. I can see it happening within 3 years of going back to the old system. They're gonna put so much pressure on the
Is
legislative
that good or
body.
bad?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's?
Going back to including detail and all that stuff in your retirement, right now detail's not included on the.
Right,
hires.
because of,
They changed it.
yeah,
'Cause we couldn't
So
survive the
similar to
system.
Massachusetts, the details don't go into your retirement, just your salary. and
right, but
overtime.
years ago it did.
Yes.
That's why everybody was signing up for details. Got it.
The last 3 of their years that they're working, but they didn't do that for 20 years, and
Sure.
there's a huge difference.
Yeah,
The troopers were hammering that.
yeah, they were, big time, whether they were in the cruiser or not. Okay,
There.
I'll make a motion to accept that section.
all right. I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? Hearing none. We'll go to section 0142104440 to 0142107009.
Is your cruiser lease.
There's your cruiser lease.
Yeah, so in the cruiser lease, we paid off his 2021 cruisers this year, so we've made that payment. I only put in the payment that we have to make, next year, which is the 23 cruisers, that we got into, last year. So left this open as to what you guys want to do with, are anticipating adding in, you know, 2 cruisers, 1 cruiser? Do we wanna see if we wanna buy a cruiser? Steve has the cruiser numbers with him, so I don't have what a cruiser costs.
So cruisers themselves, just the cruiser, it's about $46,000 for the cruiser itself.
This is a lease, or is this buying it outright? What are we doing here? Pardon?
A quote to purchase it, it's $46,000.
I thought we were leasing them.
He's gotta give me the
Okay.
Still 46.
So it's
Yeah, okay, got it.
46 for the car, and then how much
Yeah.
for the outfit?
The outfit is about $17,000, for the electronics. To have it lettered, it's about $1,500, and other equipment's about, $7,300.
I'm still adding, I'm
It's a
still adding.
$100,000 car.
About 72. About 72. But that.
You are right, 71.8,
Yes.
yep.
But some of that, the grants that we go for each year with computers and radars and printers, those are grants that we just got 2 grants for that effective
obviously, we had talked about the fact of using some of the, help me, pardon? Right, but we don't know what that amount is yet, because we haven't completed the well.
Don't we have some unappropriated funds still?
We have the unobligated ones so far, and I don't have those dollars with me. I still gotta get a final on the radio, so once we get the final on the radio, I can back that out. But where are we at? Did I say we're at like 180? Do you guys remember?
I think from the minutes from the last meeting, I think you had said it was around 180.
So if you back out the 35, let's even call it, it gives you 145. So you could probably, if that's of importance to you, you could buy one whole cruiser and outfit it. And we could still look at where the numbers are gonna fall for this budget to see if we have enough in his budget. I don't think he's gonna, I don't know. I think where we're all helping, he may be okay in his budget, but I think I would like till at least the beginning of November to see where he's gonna fall with his budget. But I think you could buy probably one with the ARPA. If you were gonna lease one out, that would be, you could probably add with interest probably, so would you get one or two? If you bought one with the ARPA money, would you try to just lease one, or would you try to get two?
Well, we're gonna be down 4, right?
We'd be down 4, so getting 2 would be ideal.
So get one this year and next year, or at least two?
At least 2 today, this year.
Well, we'd have to buy one this year with the ARPA, cause we have to appropriate that money.
Appropriate the money.
Yeah.
So it'd be buy
So
one
it'd
and
be
lease
about
one?
47 without counting interest a year to lease 2 out for 3 years.
So with the ARPA money, you buy one out.
And then lease.
And lease
lease
2.
Yeah.
At least 2.
So then
And
I
you
would
got
put
two- and you got 2 to sell,
50,000
right?
in your budget.
And
We're
then
about
you're
2
just,
to sell.
yeah, then you're just down one cruiser instead of 2. So you'd get 3 instead
We're
of
down 1, if we get 3, we're down 1 for next
1,
year.
yeah.
And if there's still leftover ARPA money, we can buy that.
Right, we don't know what that amount is yet. Yeah,
And we won't lose our rotation.
right,
The way
that's,
we've been doing it.
yeah.
Took us a while to get back to that.
I know, we were skimping for years. And the problem is that, John, it's expensive to fix anything at a garage.
Is an example.
Yeah, but the expenses, these things have gone up. I mean, what do we get? The lease company a couple years ago was gonna give us $4,500, and I got you, what, $7,500?
Right.
Something
Or
like that.
2,500.
Huh?
2,500, 2,000, that's what's on here, they said they'd give us $2,000 for a trip.
Never mind them,
No, we made out better by,
they got me auction.
Take it
yeah,
to the auction.
taking to the auction.
Absolutely.
But those funds then just go back in the general fund. You know, it's,
Or you could earmark it.
could you?
Like we did with the last one, we earmarked.
Then we should do that.
Then we should do that, yeah.
To offset it.
And that offsets it.
At least it gets right.
Buys
It
down
gets,
on
that
the-
$7,300 buys it down, yeah, yeah,
We were doing that for several years,
yeah.
putting it back into the car and down, then the lease price would come way down because we weren't leasing the total number.
Mhm.
Felt good.
We must have either had money down or we had extra money because we only leased, I think, the cruisers and not the outfit because my lease on each one is only 18,000, which I'm coming up to about 47 each not 47 each.
Some of those were could have been transfer of equipment too. So it wasn't new equipment and replace the old. And then we're trying to do now is replace that old equipment with new equipment so we don't have to do it. Then we can just do the transfers. Because after about 10 years, your radio's gone and your radar's gone. So you have to.
You have to,
upgrade. So if
obviously,
you do it this way and you build it into a lease, you're actually paying 3 years for that outfit as opposed to taking it all in one shot.
and do you think you get about 10 years out of, your equipment within the cruiser?
Yeah, unless somebody racks. it
Well,
up.
Or they
Yeah.
changed the
Or
design.
the design, that's what used to get us, was they changed the structural design of the car.
oh, so lights
And
wouldn't go
gauge-
from one,
Oh, the gauges wouldn't fit,
Oh.
the top of the roof would be
Right.
too narrow, you'd have to buy an adapter kit. Cages, you'd have to buy adapter kits, and before you know it,
Yeah.
you're just
Who'd we lease those through? Berlin City?
No, it was actually, Bancorp,
Bancorp was the cheapest?
Bancorp was carrying the leases most of the time. We had Franklin Savings do it once, but
Yep.
I think we're going back to Bancorp, I think.
So if you wanted to, and we can change this too, you can always just put forward something, and if it works out that we have extra ARPA funds and that's what you choose to spend the ARPA funds on, we can change this by the time it gets, even through the process. So you could budget, the lease we're already required to pay, the 36,300, and 2 cruisers, so that would bring that line to, I don't know, to 85,000.
Mhm.
And we can still just play by ear if we use the ARPA money, and we can just decrease it if we, buy 1 or 2. And then maybe you could buy at least 1, and then we could decrease it by another 47,000 by the
Okay.
time we're done.
So basically, that will be a question mark at the moment.
Yep.
So I would suggest that you put forward in this line 85, which would be 2 leases, and then your current lease that you're paying, that you're obligated to pay. And then we revisit it towards beginning of November. to see where
If
we're
we
at.
enter into a lease before the end of the year, does that now hit our default for 2025 too? If we enter into a lease for a vehicle, so say if we purchase one and lease one at the end of this year,
I don't think you can enter into a lease until after town meeting.
After town meeting.
The ARPA funds, we would just buy outright, yeah.
So obviously, if we were fortunate enough to have enough ARPA funds left over,
You would buy them outright, yeah.
you could buy 2 outright
Mhm.
and then just lease one after town meeting.
If it passes.
It will pass. Don't keep saying it. Be positive, guys, please. Be positive.
And I did get an updated quote for the, repeater, and it's about $6,000 less, which is the state bid for the repeater, so. So it's gonna be around 29 total as opposed to 35.
And where was that coming from? I know we had the, no, but I mean, where was the monies?
The ARPA.
Yeah, it's okay, all right. Good, well,
Alright, so do you want me to go ahead and put the 85 in that line?
Yes.
And that will be leasing 2 and then paying the lease payment we already have?
If we don't keep up this year, we'll go 5 years behind.
Yep, sure will.
and basically what's gonna happen is the vehicle repair line will be right out of sight because,
They won't live long enough to make it to be repaired.
No.
no, they won't. You're right.
Frame will start.
Yeah, it's, yeah.
Just as an example, last week, one of the ones that we're looking to get rid of had to go in for inspection. So it had inspection, oil change, need wheel bearings, so it's just over $1,000 for that one car.
And how many miles is on that car?
86,000?
can we get an update number on the vehicle repair for this year so far?
The what?
The vehicle repair.
Vehicle repair.
I just spent
What do you-
over
what was the
$3,000 on my
question?
Subaru,
Just an updated number on vehicle repair.
and it's only got 34,000 miles on it. Couldn't believe it.
About 6,900. 7,000. To your point, it was 1,037 that you spent last.
Yep.
Mm.
Car 7, is that what it was?
Should be car 8.
Yeah, maybe 8, yeah.
Just to make comment on the tire line, we don't normally change the tires until November. And we get pretty close to a year out of a set of tires.
Cause you're doing all-wheel or something,
We
right?
changed them to the all-season
All
tires.
season,
And they've been doing really well for us, so we're saving on the mounting, balancing, rotations, so we're saving money there, but, so when you look at that number, you say, well, you could get a lot of money left in there.
but November's not here yet.
We still got like 6 sets of tires to put on cars, so.
Now, if we buy out one, obviously that one that you're gonna get rid of, you're not gonna do tires on, I assume. But how soon will the car be here if we,
So it depends on which car, so
okay,
the car, one of the cars that we
Yeah,
Need new tires in the summer, this spring.
okay,
So I found all kinds of the spare tires that go in cruisers,
mhm,
okay? They're brand new summer tires. So Craig came down, got this car, and had these guys put these on for us, just to get us by. They're brand new summer tires. I didn't put the all seasons on to save $776.
where'd you find the tires, to a dear
In the
eyes?
trunk of the car.
Yeah, say the trunk.
In the trunks of the cruisers. So
Came
when we
with 'em.
turn in a car, I'm not turning in the car with brand new tires sitting in the back and pull it out.
And where I'm sending these guys, they ain't never coming back.
And I'm back. So if we blow out a tire, I got one to put on, it's not gonna cost me anything. So,
We sound like we're,
That's good thinking.
We've been doing this for years.
oh,
Oh,
This
guys.
is called penny saving.
hey, we gotta cut corners where we can.
Absolutely.
I love
So
it.
it cost us nothing, cause Craig helped out and did that for us.
Yeah.
It was great. And you can't mount and balance them, but they were already mounted and balanced.
Sure,
So that car there, if it goes into the winter, it's
Yeah.
gonna need winter tires.
sure.
The other car already has winter tires on it, we can probably get it by without.
So you'd probably get rid of the one with the summer tires at this point, if you can replace it. I don't know how long it's gonna take you to
Well,
get a
if
cruiser.
So we normally get rid of them without really good tires on.
Anyway, so we do that too,
Put the
okay?
NASCAR slicks on and send
So
them in.
what we do,
I love it.
honestly, what we do is, I've done in the past, I've switched all 4 tires from one car to the other and gotten rid of it.
Okay, but we don't, it's,
All
okay.
you need is an air tank and a jack, that's it. We're on it.
So police/mechanic, or tire guy or whatever. Okay, all right. I wonder how many cruisers go down the road to auction and they're illegal.
You're only going 47 miles one way.
That's it.
Well,
I ain't bringing them home.
Okay, all right, very good, all right. What else do we have to discuss on this section, anything? Any other questions?
I have a question that's just an informational piece, it's not really budget. Remember a couple years ago, you guys got that speeding thing? I've never seen it anywhere, what happened to it?
It's in the feeding,
Are we gonna use it?
yes,
Okay,
yes. We've got it.
okay.
May I ask what the speeding thing is?
It's
a
that-
Speed trailer?
It's the speed trailer.
It's solar powered.
It's the one that when they put it out, years ago, when they put one out on South Road,
See how fast they go by.
people go by and they go faster to see
Oh, it
how
tells you the
fast they
speed
can
limit.
go with it. Yeah, it's one of those,
Everything.
yeah,
The ones that really scare me are the ones that flash lights. Those
Yeah, this
scare
one
me.
does.
We have
Does
one up
that
on
see
the
it?
yeah,
Gilmanton Road by the elementary school,
yeah.
and it flashes if you're going over a certain speed. It's gonna slow down.
You know something, when I'm coming down that hill, it makes me, I gotta see if I can get underneath what that says, just so it doesn't do this.
Yeah.
Doesn't always happen, but it's okay.
Yeah, the one in Guilford does that to me too.
Yeah.
Near the school zone.
Coming in by the school zone.
Yeah.
I've had a few people have asked me about it, if you've had it, me included, cause I own it at my house and, you know,
Yeah.
It's big though, it might take up the whole driveway.
I know, that's okay.
Put it at my house too.
107 is it's a speed zone.
Oh, it's bad, this morning it was.
But isn't 107 well, it doesn't matter if it's a state road or not, it's just,
You can put it, we can put it anywhere
oh, you can?
within town, sure.
Oh, can you? It doesn't matter if it's a state road or not. Good, all right. Can I have a motion? No
I shut
motion?
my book accidentally.
I'll make a motion to accept
Oh, why? Shut it.
014210440 to 014210719.
I'll second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? Hearing none, that passes.
And I will-
Obvious, what? Go ahead. No.
I will say that even with the increases to everything and the wages, and the health insurance and the retirement, they're still only at a 5% increase over last year's, the 24 requested.
And that's including the 85? Okay, all right, awesome.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Thank you so much, guys. All right.
Do we need to accept it as discussed, or are we good there?
As discussed, the health insurance will change.
Including the increase to the, I'll put that in the motion.
Yes.
That includes the increase for the cruiser line
Yes.
to be 85.
Yep, awesome, thank
Make
you.
a motion if
And
that's
this will be
good.
moved forward because there will be some changes, obviously.
Motion made to accept as discussed with the change that comes.
Well, you know.
Second it, second it.
Second it? Did you second it?
No, I made it, someone's gotta
Oh,
second it.
I'll second it, I'll second it, I'll second it, all in favor? Aye.
There we go, now it's official.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Have a good afternoon. Okay, executive.
Not many changes in mine. Mine overall has only a $4,000 increase, which is a negative 8% increase over the requested, and only a 1% increase over the default. And as you can imagine, those are associated with, salaries. My budget burdens most of the town hall's, health insurance is in mine, so my my health insurance line will cover the town clerk's office, the finance office, the general assistants, the executive office, the assessing, and Parks and Rec. And same with, vacation buyback is also in mine for most of the town hall staff. The executive budget includes the selectmen stipends, the trustees of the trust funds, my salary. The administrative assistant line that you saw was again what we had proposed in, no, that was in the finance bureau. Is that one supposed to be in
Yeah.
mine?
That's the
Yes.
112.
112 was the position that we were gonna share with the town clerk's office, so that is not being proposed for 25, so that is a savings there. The overtime in my budget is really just for Colleen, with any overtime that she has in regards to these meetings, any other meetings that we have to ask her to come to do minutes, and any extra time for budget prep and just helping out projects that.
And that should really, that should really decrease this year, because I don't see a need to have night meetings for these budgets, because nobody showed up.
For your sections, yeah.
For our,
absolutely.
no one showed up. It was a, you know.
I agree.
The comments, gotta have night meetings, and there was plenty on Facebook saying this tonight, it's tonight, nobody showed up. So, let's start with 0141300101 down to 0141309999.
I'll make a motion to accept those as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none. Obviously, we will move this forward because the changes will be in the health figures.
Yes.
Things that we have no control over, obviously.
And like I mentioned the other day, we did get our rates for 25.
Yep.
We did not see a decrease in rates, for health insurance. Our short-term disability rates, it was the only decrease in the negative 1.7 decrease at, 0.23 cents per thousand of how they calculate that. The life insurance, the life insurance did have no change, so that was 0.20. One of the 80/20 plans went up 16.9%, the site of service plan went up 27.5%. Dental again went up 5%, last year it went up 4.7%. Yeah, so I quickly did the math yesterday, and we're probably gonna see about a $180,000 to $200,000 increase just in the benefits alone.
passing, which is, number 22. We'll open for discussion, 0141522102 to 0141522324.
Nothing new for changes here. The only real changes are any of the service contracts that we have for Vision, which is our, property tax card, and how we. What is the Vision?
It's the property tax card that has the descriptions of the properties, and also
build the data.
maintains the ownership information, and that's used to interface with our BMSI tax software to create the proper tax bills.
And then our BMSI, which runs our,
Right to.
property tax appraisal interface, which creates the tax bills and sets the tax rate. I did not increase, line 275 for KRT to come and do abatements appeals, to the BTLA. I did note that we have 81 abatements and 23 BTLA appeals, which we do pay for the BTLA appeals. Is it this one? Out of this line.
Say that again real slow. Because if they, how many abatements did you have?
81 abatements and 23 BTLA appeals, so we had 81 abatements for 23.
For 23. And then the.
So they overappraise and then we pay them for over and appraising?
Well, it's not that they overappraised, it's property owner feels they didn't get,
But they got an abatement.
no, this is
No,
that they
they
filed for an
Okay,
abatement
all
to
right.
get
I mean, they got one.
reconsideration of their property value. And then out of those, so this 23 is
Those
22,
denials.
right?
No, the 23 BTLA appeals are for people that were denied an abatement for 2023.
And they don't like that.
Decided to move forward to the BTLA.
Okay.
So either out of the 81, some of them were granted or denied, and then the ones that were denied, they said, okay, whatever. And then the 23 said, no, I'm still gonna keep pushing this and go to the BTLA to fight it.
Do we know how many of those actually got upheld in the property owner's favor?
They're in process right now. September 1st was their deadline to submit their applications to the BTLA. And then the BTLA sends us paperwork and says, hey, we need this, this, and this from you. So I have to make photocopies of a bunch of things and send them off to the state. And I just finished the last of the ones that we had to do last week. So it's still very early on in the state part of the process for all of those. But we just had one that finally, I think, came back with an agreement that was a 2022 one. So it's now, 2 years out that it's finally being settled. So it could still be a while.
Let me ask you a question, because there's been a lot of talk lately about putting something on the ballot for the assessment, the spot assessment, because of how people are nervous now about, values going down and paying taxes on a 600,000 house, but it's really gone down and its value is only 300,000, okay? So there is talk about that. If that was to pass, there would have to be monies somewhere,
And we don't,
and we don't have monies in here, do we?
not really for that, no.
I think their warrant article would have to appropriate the funds for it too. or
Yeah,
we-
that's exactly right, we're gonna have to, you're exactly right. We need to look into that.
But wouldn't you still put the $75,000 warrant
That
article?
got
in?
voted
That got voted down.
No, I know, but wouldn't you put it back on again?
I would, but for a different purpose, and I can get to that when we talk about the capital reserves.
Because what's gonna happen is, again, even with the spot, then we wouldn't need so much in the capital reserve for 5 years from now.
Well, we still have to do the full measure and list in 2029, and
Mhm.
that, I guess I'll just say now, that savings account of the capital reserve is tucking each year, because in 29, I mean, it breaks it up, and I think I gave you guys that information a week ago, but starting in 26, we're gonna get $120,000 bill. 27, we're gonna get another $120,000 bill, and in 29 or whatever, we'll get the final 250. So I need to set aside that 75 each year, so that when it comes to paying them as they're doing their revaluation, we have the money there.
Otherwise, it has to be appropriated,
Otherwise,
all
you
in one
gotta
chunk.
find 300.
or we end up like Canterbury,
Canterbury.
and the state comes in and does their own, and
You end up being
I
told.
had
you end up being told,
I
But
hadn't
we're already now
heard
75
that the
behind the eight
state,
ball because we didn't get it this year, so now,
I didn't hear the state went into Canterbury. I do know the Canterbury Board of Selectmen sent everyone a letter and said the school portion of your property taxes is going up. I think it's $2.71, Dougie
Yeah.
said.
yep,
Yeah, per
1,000.
thousand.
yep.
So I know there was that letter, but the Board of Selectmen sent it to them. I didn't know the state was involved in it.
Yeah, no, well, the state,
I know they're-
they did not appropriate, they did not hire, it's my understanding, they did not hire an assessing company to come in. And so evidently, maybe their ratio, that's why I was asking you about the ratio.
So I checked on that yesterday.
Okay,
I
yes.
spoke with Ben LaFond at NHDRA to find out
What
what
the-
happens.
Yeah,
So if you don't do, if a town or municipality does not complete the reassessment within the 5-year window that's required, then typically it would be the BTLA steps in and says, listen, we're gonna take care of this, here's the bill, we're gonna have it done for you, and figure this out. If the equalization ratio gets low, he said they generally don't do anything, because that's part of the purpose of having the equalization ratio.
okay,
Like where Belmont has kept up with assessments and Canterbury hasn't,
yeah,
in order to make sure that each town proportionally pays the correct portion for the school taxes, for instance, knowing that Canterbury hasn't assessed in 5 years and Belmont assessed this year, that equalization ratio is how they figure it out so that it's still fair, even though assessed values are really far apart from each other in the two towns.
Right, cause last year in November, Belmont's, obligation was $9.97, and Canterbury's was a little over 14, and now they're gonna add 271, so now they're gonna be at like $17 per thousand to pay their school portion.
And then, did you give them the sales?
no, I don't think you know.
I left copies for you. So I did a quick little report of the most recent sales. So sales from August 23rd through October 4th, so about 5 or 6 weeks of recent sales. The average of those has been selling for 23% more than our
new assessed,
24 assessed value that hasn't even been published on a tax bill yet.
yeah,
People, the sales are quite a bit more, and that's for all different types of properties. One of those, so there was a 1974 manufactured home in a park that sold for 112% more than we assessed it for. It was assessed for $63,000 and it sold for $135,000. There was a commercial condominium
It's gonna be
that
for
sold
renting the
for
whole life.
31% more than we assessed it for. A 1998 manufactured home sold for 39% more than it was assessed for. You know, there were some that sold for below that are ones that need a lot of work.
sure.
But the average is 23% more than.
That's why it's so
what we're-
important that we do
what we
this.
assessed
We
for.
get a, article on the ballot to do spot, again, continue on, because it's gonna come back and kill people down the road. if
Yeah,
the
unfortunately,
values-
they're not gonna vote for it until they get hurt by it.
Probably they won't, but I think that we should have to make the
I know.
attempt.
I'm just telling you what's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
happen.
But I think we should at least have it on and make the attempt, because that way, if they start coming in here, we can say, It was on the ballot, you voted against it. No different than people come in and complain about it, but they don't understand, they voted for it. It's, yeah.
That's a hard one to tell people.
Municipalities, they do assess every single year in a cyclical fashion, you know, they do manufactured homes one year, single-family homes
Yeah.
another year,
Yeah.
commercial another year. So every single year, there's some type of assessment going on. You know, number one, it spreads out how the money gets spent for doing those types of assessments. And then it also spreads out the work so that you're not trying to, you know, assess
Yep.
almost 5,000 or whatever. how
In one
many
year.
Thousands of properties
course.
in one year.
And by doing, by spreading it out, isn't it at the end of the 5 years, wouldn't it be cheaper to do the full thing because they've kept up with so much of it? The full evaluation?
Well,
Wouldn't
that's what the cyclical one would
Be-
be, that Alicia's talking about for 2029.
Yeah.
They would start it in 2026, and it
Yeah.
would be done over 3 years' course of time.
Sure, all right.
Just because it's almost impossible.
You couldn't do it
to
all in
have
one year, yeah.
staff to come in and
Do it all in 1 year.
do it all
Yeah.
in 1 year.
Yeah.
Just,
Not enough bodies.
right.
So at least we'll have 25 as a break.
Yep.
And then they're just collecting data basically for 26, 27, 28, and then, so basically the numbers we have now are the numbers we're with until 29.
Unless
Unless
there's
there's something on the
Or
ballot.
with another sales
Yep.
update.
Okay, all right. I think, did I already? I didn't? I know, okay, property taxation, 014152-102 to 014152-324. Is there any discussion on this budget? I think we've kind of already discussed it.
I'll make a motion to pass that figure.
I'll second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And this will be moved on for adjustment with the insurance.
No
No?
one's on this, she's in the executive, so.
Oh, all right, I thought I saw, oh, I'm sorry, I saw Medicare, got it, okay. So that can be approved then.
I have 140, 116.
Oh, that's because you have different values.
Okay, we'll move on to legal.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Do you have my new legal?
Yep. So I currently have legal at, this is as of this morning, $51,027.
Yeah,
Which is
51,
a lot
Oh,
over budget
27?
because.
I'm sorry?
57,
No, $51,027.
oh, 27.
We typically have only budgeted 35 in this budget. Last year we spent 32. Right now we're at 51,000. I am requesting 50. A lot of what came out of this was a employment issue, a legal employment issue that that kind of wrapped from 23 into 24. And a lot of those bills I got hit with in 24. We've had a lot of instances where we've had legal matters come up, where we've either been sued and we needed legal representation, or we had a lot of employment issues where I needed to reach out to legal to represent us against the union. So that's where a lot of that money has gone to.
and we use, the New Hampshire, what is it called?
So we use NHMA as much as
thank
we
you.
can for free. I actually did use them in reference to a budget question and the budget committee's authority versus yours, and that was great. So we always try to use them as much as possible, but when it comes to employment and representation, we kind of can't, and they'll always say refer to legal.
No.
But they're always my first go-to.
Okay, so here's my question. If we start union negotiations, obviously we have legal that represents us. Is that built into this, or is that somewhere else, or have you
That would
considered
be
that?
in here.
All right, because that's not
That
cheap.
is, I mean, typically, and I think if I look back historically, the 35 was kind of inclusive of union negotiations. I don't know whether just this year's in an oddity as to
Well, because this year we're not negotiating union, next year we will be.
25 we will be.
Right.
And we'll be negotiating all three next year.
Right.
Um,
My question is 50 enough?
So we went over the budget, so
Yeah.
where did that extra money come from to go back into that, to pay that?
What do you mean to pay it?
Huh?
What do you mean to, how am I gonna pay it? It's just overspent. So
Well,
you-
Peter and pay Paul.
Yeah.
So you can either transfer another line from another budget so that it's not overspent. And that's why we're watching all of the departments and their lines and their budgets to make sure we're not, the bottom line isn't overspent. Or are you asking where the money went to?
No, I think
No,
what he's
no, I
asking
just-
is, how are you gonna pay
Yeah.
this bill?
Yeah, how, where's
It
the,
doesn't
where's
matter.
the, where the extra money gonna come from?
Yeah,
To
where'd
pay
you get the
this.
money to pay it?
Well, cut off of supplies. We did,
Speaking of, I got paper clips.
one of the legal, cases that we did go to for code enforcement, we did get back, those liens that were on that property, so we do have an offsetting revenue of 7,500, which I can't offset that, but it is an offsetting revenue that did come in, to help pay for those. And anything with the Walker property, anything we get from that sale or anything.
See, the problem
moving
is,
forward.
right, we've spent legal monies on the Walker property, good example. And now I think they're trying to sell some vehicles and whatever, but those monies that they make, it just comes into the general fund, all right? It doesn't go directly to this line, but then we have those monies because we overspent this line. It's an accounting, it's an accounting nightmare, correct, Steve? Yes.
And unfortunately, you can't,
Well, I think Alicia
Not
said you
use
spent,
legal
you spent
either.
from the bottom line, so.
Right, it's the bottom line, yeah. As long as we haven't overspent.
Everything.
Everything, we're
Ready
all
to
right.
fire anybody? We can scratch that off.
so, but besides the union, I'm hoping that 25 will be a better legal year for us.
Okay, no, do we need a motion to accept that?
I'll make the motion to accept that.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none? Back to go. We'll move on to solid waste, trash.
Not much to discuss here because this is all contractual with our contract with Casella.
And when is that contract up?
27.
Oh, okay, so we get another couple of years. Okay,
We entered in 22, so
All
yeah,
right.
5 years, so it's
5
27.
years? All right.
So those are all the contract numbers for them. The only one that is, or the only few that aren't, oh, and I have highlighted here, so, did I put a number in yours for the household hazardous waste day? Did I give you a number for that or no?
No.
Or did I leave it zero?
Yes,
Oh.
It's zeroed out.
first one.
Okay, so I don't know if you want to bring that back again this year
Yeah.
or not, so I left them at 0. If you did wanna bring the household hazardous waste day, the new 24, contract would be $8,828.
Did anyone hear anything about not having it?
Yeah, I
didn't hear
did.
anything.
I did.
You
I
did?
did.
Yeah.
I
I
had
did.
people,
Yeah.
you know,
What do we
and
have in
I
the-
also explained how many people used it compared to how much it cost and, you know, what the net cost would be.
I had one person show up at my house and ask what he does with it.
I
Because we
had
weren't
one
having it.
person that said I tried to go to another
Yeah,
collection
and they
site to
wouldn't.
drop it off because I missed hours and they wouldn't let me in.
No,
Yeah.
no.
And Rod did also look into if there were other options for us to do it, you know, through a private company or something.
Yeah.
Instead of using the LRPC program, and the cost was at least twice as much. And the
Okay.
guy said, you know, looking at what you paid last time, he said, I'm not even gonna work up a quote for you because we know we're gonna be at least twice as much.
I guess that falls under the same line as the fireworks. Right? I mean, it's just, Do we want fireworks, or do we want a police officer? Do we want fireworks, or do we want hazardous waste, or do we want, I don't know. It's brutal.
And I also did include, you guys have, we do get the, host fees for what Casella brings
Yep.
into the facility that are outside of Belmont. So we do get about roughly, about $5,500 a month, so far, and the last number
41.
that they updated was July. Go up 41,000, so if you trend that down,
55,000.
you would probably take in about 63,000 in host fees, so that is another offsetting revenue that we account for in the budget.
Yep.
And then we just give a ton of detail years of how much we've
Yep.
collected. Those sheets.
So, do we wanna host this hazardous waste? And you said it was 8,400,
88.
88.
88.28.
That was cheaper than last year, I thought it was
No,
like,
last
No.
year's was 8408.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And we didn't do it last year, that was actually $400 in 2 years, right? Increase, isn't too bad, could be worse.
Yeah, 8408 was last year, it looks like
So if I may make a suggestion.
Yes.
Perhaps this is the type of program that the town tries to participate in every other year.
I was
instead
gonna
of
say,
every year.
you know something, I was gonna suggest that, yep.
That's also one of my thoughts, that this is one of the programs that we say, like I said to Mark, this is something that we have done, we put in the budget, let the budget committee figure out if they think it's a service that they wanna keep or not.
Mhm. Yeah,
I'd say pass it on to the budget committee. I agree with that statement.
yeah, cause I would
And
really
if they
get
say
with
no, we'll
Brian
put it off for
Kyle's.
another year.
and at
Are
this
they the ones
point,
that were in
we
charge
can
of that?
pass it on, and obviously, I can say our feeling was
Facilitated.
that, we would host this every other year.
Yeah.
Right, instead of every year, do it every other year, pass it on and see what their feelings are.
And I think, I thought we had supplied the information as to how many participated, but I gotta think it was under
I found,
100 or 120-ish.
I think it was less than that.
yeah, and I found the last time,
$120 per participant,
Were-
is, I believe, the number that it worked out.
More people from Gilmington checking in than they
yeah,
were.
there were a lot of people from Gilmington, but I also found that the last time we did it, they weren't bringing, they didn't have much stuff to bring, so to speak. You saw that amount decrease the first couple of years, it was brutal, but it definitely has decreased.
Couches, beds.
All right,
So do you want me to put it at 0 or put the budget numbers in there?
Put it in there.
I would put it in there
Okay.
and kind of go, I think it's a consensus that we'll go with that. We'll see what the budget committee does, but if they bring it up, I guess I can say, if everybody is fine with that, that our thought was we would do it every other year.
Just call Mr. Zimmerman.
There you go.
So with no changes to that, then that's,
Add that.
At 8,000.
no, I have the new number, I'll tell you. So with adding in, so then we also have to add back in the 800 for the, employees coordinate the household hazardous waste and attend the meetings. So that bottom line of the solid waste budget would be $753,909.
So 800 for the employee, and what was the number for the?
8408, 8820, I'm sorry, 8820.
Thank you.
And we assume we have a volunteer to do that.
Kyle and Brian
it
are
Kyle?
current volunteers.
Okay, oh, they don't know that yet,
Yes.
or,
Current volunteers.
yeah, yeah, all right, okay. Good, can I have a motion to, accept the solid waste
Make the motion.
for $753,909?
That number.
That number?
Yeah.
And do I have
I'll
a second?
Second it.
John seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none?
Ooh, I like section 25.
Insurance, it's blank.
Insurance, yep, those are our numbers from Primex, and they just said yesterday that we won't have the insurance numbers until October 21st, so I'm not gonna be able to discuss those today.
Okay, so we'll move on to debt service.
Yep. So these are our debts that we have out, these are our bonds, that we have. You can see that the Pleasant Valley got paid off in 24, so we don't have that payment, so that reduces our debt there by about 50,000 between that and the interest. And then we still have the Holy Road culvert, and that last payment is in 26, and then we have the police station bond. So we actually don't have much debt at all for a town of our size. And with that debt payment off, we're at a negative 17%.
0147110004 to 0147110006. Are there any questions? Hearing none, could I have a motion?
Make a motion to accept.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none. Interest debt service, 0147210004 through 0147210006.
I'll make a motion to accept it.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none.
We don't take any TAM loans.
The next, 0147230001, that's always $1, and it's basically to keep the line open, correct? All
Have we
right.
ever taken a TAM?
Not that I've ever known, not while I've been here, and I don't know that Jean has ever told me that when she was here,
I don't
we've
think
ever
so.
needed it
No,
either.
but you gotta.
Yeah, no, I just didn't know if we, cause I knew at county we take one every year, cause we don't get paid from this towns until late and we have to pay our bills
Oh,
first.
okay. We've
So I
been
just didn't
pretty
know if we ever
good.
took one here.
All right. Do I have a motion to accept that?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So
All
for
right,
the
27?
capital outlay, you can kind of refer to the handouts that I gave you.
These two?
Yep,
I don't have that on 27.
no.
No,
look at
it's
the
these
handouts
two.
that I
She
gave you.
gave,
Okay, so
Yeah, I got him, I got him.
got it?
kind of, forgot
That one,
my
yep.
sections today,
No,
so.
this one. You need that
Yes,
one.
underneath
Got
here.
it? There you go. Okay.
So the capital outlay, for true, I mean, I guess, for the CIP, the only requests that had come forward were the library and their their 25,000 that they always request to, set aside for the building of a new library. And then the cemetery trustees also put forward, a capital reserve, fund request, of 25,000. The fire department also put forward a request, to do the tanker replacement. I don't have any backup on this or any information on this, so their request I don't know any details on, whether it includes the interest or not. Certainly we can maybe look at that at our next meeting for clarification from them. The highlighted list that I think you guys are
Up
all
above,
looking at,
yeah.
those are all our capital reserves. These are what I'm recommending that we put into them for this year. And then I gave you what we have in the PDIP, as of September 30th for those accounts. If you can't find out which one it is, just ask me and I'll tell you which one it is.
So why have you highlighted the dry hydrant and cistern?
Well, that is a question I need to ask the fire department because I don't know. They've got, I don't know how much they cost to repair or replace or what they're really using that fund for. I don't recall us, expending a lot of money or requesting a lot of money from that fund.
How much is in that fund at the moment?
26,000?
And they're requesting, and they, yeah, okay.
So that one's a question mark, whether we even put any funds in there, do we just, keep tucking away a little bit each year? I guess I don't know, what the end goal is, or like, what
I think your question to the fire department would be, when do they check these and how do they inspect them? I mean, you've paid for one of them.
Oh, yeah, I got a big one over there,
Yeah.
like a
So,
$200,000 one
Yeah,
over
so
there. Yeah.
how do they would be the ones that tell us maintenance, and one thing I've learned about the fire department in the last 3 months is when it comes to maintenance, they can't spell the word.
Well, and I guess when you're talking about dry hydrants,
But this is hydrants, so they should take.
right, but the dry hydrants, are those the ponds
Yeah,
with the
well,
thing?
I had one on 107. Gilbert's house burned almost to the ground, and they were trying to pump the swamp out at the corner of Durham Mountain Road, and I got a pond there with 1 million gallons of water in it and a dry hydrant set up to it. They didn't even know it was there. Been there for 20 years.
I know when they just did some, they sent
So-
a diver down this year, and that was like $1,500.
That for where?
A diver to check,
Let's just put a
Did that go in
memo.
the water tank?
no,
Oh,
I thought more
No,
like
for that
ponds, I thought it was more
pond.
Fire
ponds.
ponds.
No, but we have cisterns that were put in. Her and husband put one on Levitt Road, a big one, when they did the,
Yeah,
it's
that I
a true
don't think
cistern.
was touched.
But we had ponds, like, I had a pond on 286, I guess it's 284, 286, Province Road, that a man made, when I, was our man made, but he put a dry hydrant in it,
that might be the one that he
and it's
did.
18 feet deep, in the middle stays full of water all year, spring fed. When the guy down the road, a half mile's house burned, the fire department never came and got the water. They were trucking water out of Laconia, they didn't know what to do. And I brought that up to the fire chief, in fact, I went and got him, Parenti. I went and got him and said, come over here, see this big red thing with the brass cap? Hook the truck up to this, water
well, I
comes out.
assume that they have like a map in the fire station showing all the,
I would think so.
I don't know.
There's we got one right at the brook, down to,
Yeah, they're going down the bottom of the hill, but they drain that out in no time.
One on South Road,
Yeah,
James Fred
right-
Road
right-
hooks right to Silver
107
Lake.
and Middle Route.
This
right
is
I
there.
knew they
Down
sent
on
somebody
Union
out,
Road.
how many they did, I don't know, and it was about.
Well, I know they do the hydrants.
$1,500, so.
Okay.
But
And
we,
that's,
we should ask them to give us a little report about the cisterns and,
That's why I highlighted it, 'cause
Yeah.
I really wasn't sure.
yeah, ask them what they've spent in the last 5 years, or whatever, I have no idea. Just to clarify, is there enough in that reserve account that we don't have to put that monies in, just, just.
we get enough money in election equipment?
I talked to Jen about that, we haven't transferred the 10,000, right, yet?
No.
So we have.
That's right, that did
We have
pass.
17, and then we'll be putting another 10,000 into it in December, so we'll be at 27. The machine with the grant is only gonna cost us around 4, and then she does still have to,
Add some,
buy some new,
Needed some booths, they wanted more dividers or
so
something.
she thinks we could, just for maybe a few more years, took away we reduced it
2,500.
down to 2,500 versus 5. Because after buying the machine, we still should have about 15,000 in there.
Excuse me.
and, right, so then you add the 25, because next year there's only town election. So you
Yeah.
won't need,
And the intent of this account that we created just a few years ago was to buy the ballot machine, that we, at that point, thought it was gonna be $10,000. That's why last year, we just threw the 10,000 in there
Yeah.
on the warrant article so that we could buy it outright. And then we found that there was a grant, so we got $3,500 off. We'll get $3,500 off the purchase price with the grant.
now there's probably a, maintenance contract with that machine, if I remember correctly. Does that come out of this account, or does that come out of her,
It's in
something
the
else?
election budget, but you could also
Yeah.
take it out of this if you,
Alright, if you needed to.
just to look at the
Okay.
structuring of the.
Alright.
What's the cemetery, CRF?
That's
It's a capital reserve.
fund, that's what the cemetery trustees are requesting for funds to be put into their capital reserve this year. And I think that's what they had provided you more detail, was that what the colors?
Yeah, that's what the photos were for, that, we would appropriate the money out of our capital reserve fund to do that project. It wouldn't be coming out of our operating budget. And we just, it was the consensus of the cemetery trustees, because we usually just do the 5,000, you know, we come in and you guys say, we'll do 5,000, and it goes through and it goes on the ballot. And it's always passed, and the general thought from the cemeteries is to request that you put the 25,000 on the ballot as is, and let the voters decide if we can have it or not. And that would make it so, if they say yes, we would get the 25, if they say no, we wouldn't get anything. And that just seemed to be the easiest way to do it.
So what would the 25 just be used for?
It would go into our capital reserve account, that's the
How
savings
much is in
account.
there now?
54.
Yeah, 34,872.42, but there still needs to be another 4,375 out of there, because that's the money that we're using to pay the maintenance, which allowed us to give the 8,100 back to the general fund, for the budget, the default budget shortfall.
You wanna look at the closing market value.
Yeah.
The closing market is at the end of September.
So, okay, so it's 33,113.46, and then it still needs 43.75 that'll come out November 1st. Make it out. Gonna forget to call you, so. And it's just it was just a matter of the voters can decide, and like I said, if the voters say no, then we get 0. It's not a budgetary.
And then all the other items, the 60,000, Craig wants to just keep continuing on that path with putting the 60,000 for his heavy equipment, so that he can, keep building up that account and buying equipment when necessary and replacing outdated equipment. The 75,000 again for the property revaluation, because as you can see, and I still think we probably have a few more bills coming out. I actually just saw the KRT bill, so, where are they? Property revaluation, so we only have 74,000 in that account. We need to set aside that 75,000, to 50,000 each year, because like I said, in 26, we're gonna have to pay, I think it was 120,000 to get ready for the 2029 update, and I think 27 was another 120, and then another X, getting to a final end goal of $310,000 for the full property revaluation. So you can either hit the taxpayers with 1 year, or in those years, the 100+ thousand, or you can put aside a little bit here and a little bit there, so there's less tax burden in 1 year on the taxpayers to make up this. And again, as we reiterate all the time to the residents, we have no choice to do the reval. We have to do it at least every 5 years, and the 29 is our next one, so we have to financially plan for that. Bridge repair, Craig said, putting, just 25,000 in there. We do know that we have a bridge that's on the red list. The state has reached out to us saying, hey, we'll work with you, we'll put in, I think it was 75%, and ours was 25%, but I also believe that is not a repayment,
That's a bogus
A
statement, because
reimbursement.
they had agreed to work on the Church Hill with us, and when it came down to it, oh, well, we'll have our engineers look at your design. That was it. So don't believe everything the state tells you about the bridge.
so when that needs to get, that's
I
going to be
remember
millions
that.
of dollars to fix the bridge,
Yep.
so, we should be pretty.
Which one, the Churchill one?
I think it's,
Does it say,
no, it's
didn't
not
they,
the Churchill one, it's,
does it say, didn't they just do Churchill? I'm not
Yeah, but that
sure.
was only a repair. Always remember that Church Hill Bridge was a repair, not a replacement. So the state could come in, the
It's a
state
culvert.
could
It's a
come
big
in,
culvert
it's a
pipe.
big culvert, and they
Right, yeah.
repaired the culvert. And I remember the guy from the state sitting here and say, we'll work with you, we'll do our share and everything. Their share was to have a state engineer look at our design and approve what we were gonna do. And they inspected that damn thing like in June, and August, they closed it.
Yep.
And that's when the buses
Close the
had.
road.
Close the road, that's it, and they don't care. So what bridge is it though?
I think, wasn't it, I think Craig said it was is it the Durban Brook?
Durkee?
The
Durkee?
one at,
Durgan Brook?
the one over on
Durkee.
Union Road.
Durgan?
Huh?
It's on Union Road,
Yeah,
on the other end of
Durkee or
Union
Durgan?
Road.
I can get you an answer.
Is she talking?
On Union Road? The Durkee Brook?
Yeah, it'd be the one right by the,
That one down in the
Yeah,
gully? No.
yeah, before you get to the farm I told you about this, we
Yeah.
talked about, just before there's a culvert underneath the road, it's not really a bridge, it's got two cement headers, but it's a culvert pipe. That was starting to buckle,
It gets done by,
it's not Durkee, maybe Durgan.
Durgan,
Durgan,
I don't know,
yeah.
begins with a
I think
D.
it's Durgan.
Durkin, yeah.
Now, are there any of these numbers that you wanna increase or decrease? Is there any other of these capital reserve that you see in here? And in the PDIP, there's also, the school has their own accounts within the PDIP, so if you see anything that says SRS, that's Shaker Regional School System, those are not our accounts. And also, Sunray Shores has an account in here that is also not ours, so there's a few accounts in here that, are not ours, but if you see something that you think is important that we need to add into, let me know. So far, with all of these, just the capital reserves, that's 1.5 million. 230 would come from, the accrued liability, that 100 would, come from unexpended fund balance, so that would not be raised through taxation. And the 30,000 and the 100,000 would come by user fees, so that would not be raised through taxation of the residents in that form, it would just be raised by the user fees. And then there's the ambulance, revenue fees for their debt service, which is the final payments, or the final, the pumper payments, their ambulance lease, their restricted funds from the ambulance billing, and then I put in that full amount for their tank replacement. It looks like, through their CIP that they're requesting a down payment. It looks like $250,000, and then each year's payment at $111,000. Again, I don't have any information, so I don't know if that's inclusive of interest or not. I will reach out to Deb to get clarification.
And how long is that payment for, I guess? Would be
It was started in 25 and then 26 and 27.
5-year, 3-year, 5-year,
Years it looks like they
3-year?
got a quote on,
Is that the same with the ambulance? I think it is.
yes.
Because basically,
I
we're,
think they-
we're paying off one and we're ordering another, pretty
It's
much.
a fire tanker replacement, what's the real number?
No.
It's 300 and some odd thousand on 582.
No, it's 500.
Yeah,
She
it's
said
380,000, they could buy one for and have it here in March, not 582.
Oh, I thought it was 5.
No, I thought, yeah, like 485,
When
I thought it was.
They found, because it's being built now.
So I should tax the bus driver.
They're building one anyway, and they basically put our name on it, but she said it was around $385,000.
Oh, I guess I didn't hear that.
Get dropped off?
233.
I thought it was 5. But I think it is 3-year programs. I think it's 3-year leases on that stuff, the ambulance and,
Well, I would think at least that, yeah.
yeah. No,
Make a
but-
motion
no,
to
it's gotta-
adjourn.
No, it's gotta be more than that, John.
That'd be more than that, why?
Because this ambulance lease payment is, final payment is 28.
The equipment on an ambulance is far more expensive than the equipment on that pump truck.
Right, but I'm saying the lease,
Yeah.
payoff, so it's gotta be, you think, well,
So,
It's gonna
are
be
you trying to
5.
talk about the tanker?
yeah, it's
Yeah,
gonna be a
she quote-
5-year
she-
program.
She quoted me a price around 385,000, because whoever, her deputy, he did some research and he found what they really wanted, and it's, the guy's building 2 of them, some company in Massachusetts building 2 of them, And, cause they even told us they could probably have it by March, cause my concern was we don't have a tank truck for the winter. And 90% of the homes in this town don't have running water, I mean, they have running water, but they have wells, they don't have
On the
a
sheet,
hydrant.
sheet she submitted said there was 50,000 in furnishings and equipment, and basically 500,000 for the vehicle and capital equipment, which gave, and then she gave me a total estimate of funding, which maybe this 582 is with the interest. It looks like they wanna do 250 down and then lease at 111 each year, so that's.
They got the money.
So, I could be wrong, but I think I remember from taking the minutes of the meeting that Deb was here, that they had talked about if they were able to basically get an answer, yes, they can move forward, they'd be able to get that truck for $380 and have it delivered in March. But if they don't have a commitment on it, the company is increasing their prices, and that piece of equipment is now gonna be
Yeah.
400 and
Yeah.
whatever.
But we can't legally commit to that, cause it's the voters that have to vote on it, right?
They
Because,
they would have to commit to a price as of March, you know,
Right,
whether we
right.
get funding or not. So they're gonna say, okay, what is our quote for, you know,
right,
to buy in March?
So it's gonna have to be the
That's
bump.
quite a bump, I mean, it ain't like, you know,
Right.
come on in, I'll sell you this car today for 10 grand, and tomorrow it's gonna be 20.
So are you good with those amounts and I can leave them? Do we want to change any?
I'm not real happy with the 25,000 on the cemetery commission, but I'm never happy on that, so.
especially when you, eliminated, the town cemetery monies.
Yep.
Decrease the town cemetery monies, and
That's
that's
another
an
reason.
active cemetery.
Yep.
Now we've, you know, we out of the kindness of our heart last year gave back money, and now you're not giving it back this year, so we have a superintendent who we may not have. So we may not have a town cemetery before we're done.
You through crying yet?
Nope. I'm just telling you, that's the way it is, Sonny. If you don't have the money and can't pay them, we all know they're not gonna stay,
So it looks like,
unfortunately.
I can do revenues next time. I'm honestly not in the best place to report on them right now,
Yeah.
as they're still ongoing and.
Sure.
So does that
Something
mean
to
you
go
wanna meet
anyway.
on Monday?
I'm trying to find a calendar, sorry. So we did have, Monday at 5 as our cleanup. Do we wanna keep that, or do we wanna push it out, or I'm not gonna have the insurance money until, who knows what time, well, they said I'm supposed to have it Monday, but, I gotta just get you guys in and finalize before the budget committee meets on the 7th. When did you?
Well, our
start?
6th is our next regular board meeting.
So that's too close, cause I won't have time to print. I guess, you guys, you can't do planning boards, you can't do the 28th, someone has planning board. Do we wanna keep the Monday at 5, or do we wanna do Wednesday at 10, the 23rd?
That doesn't conflict with one of these other meetings that we have? No, that's the 22nd and the 29th.
I don't care.
All right.
I can do either.
I can try if I can get the 10 on Wednesday, but being close, I'll see what happens, but it's just revenues anyways.
It'd be revenues, it would be the insurance, it'd be anything that had any lingering questions. I can get better answers on the capital reserve and CIP from Deb. So it would just be a quick cleanup session. It shouldn't be as long as they've been.
And you're recommending, recommending, what day?
We could do Wednesday, the 23rd at 10, or we could keep it the Monday at 5.
I'd let Travis decide, he's the one that has to take more time off
You need
from
a
work.
majority here, it's not just me, but, I mean, I can guarantee be here Monday at 5, I can try to be here Wednesday if we do it at 10, I just can't guarantee that right now, until I talk to my boss.
Is Monday at 5 gonna be possible for you?
It'll be hard, but I would prefer Wednesday, but I can make it work.
Can we do Wednesday at 5?
I have a prior commitment
Okay.
that I can't make, but I could do 3:30?
No, It's hard for Travis to get here for 3 too. And what's Tuesday?
Tuesday you have the Canterbury
Oh, okay,
thing.
that's the 22nd.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what about
I
Thursday?
can make Monday work at 5. I'll just work this weekend.
I mean, if you guys have a quorum here on Wednesday, I could probably zoom in if you need to be, if that's working then.
So for the insurance thing, I just gotta grab the numbers in the system and put them on your
It
spreadsheet, and it's like
doesn't really matter what they are anyways, right?
Right.
I mean, it's,
I don't know how to say, but that one shouldn't take me long. We can keep it Monday at 5 if you guys want. Or we can do 4. Doesn't have to be 5. I think we're just doing 5 works better for you two with kids and work.
Doesn't matter, I can be here Monday, I can zoom in Wednesday, it's not a big deal, I can figure it out.
we'll do Monday at 5. That's the 21st, right?
Alright. So we'll do the insurance, we'll do the revenues, and then we'll do any other cleanup, and from there. The only thing that won't be able to be, I guess, approved by you is any changes that employees have with the health insurance rates.
Right, because they have to make their choice.
Yeah, and I won't probably even have those back by until mid-November. I mean, I don't think it's a big deal. You've already approved the budgets as presented with the caveat knowing that the health insurance elections will change. So I don't think we need to schedule any other meeting to revisit those at all. I will update you, just so
Yep.
that you know all of the bottom line numbers once those come in probably one of your regular meetings,
Mm-hmm.
just so you know. No, I think they,
Oh, I didn't even do a thing, nothing.
for the
I did nothing.
Just vote to approve, and as long as you guys don't have any changes.
On the capital, but how can we, on the capital one. But on this one we can't, right? Because you're still gonna ask questions on this, correct?
Ask questions, yeah. I can just rebring it. I just need clarification from Deb on that fire tanker one. I'm more concerned with the capital reserves that we already have established accounts, that top section.
Okay. Do I have a motion for the capital reserve to accept as presented?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none? You're golden.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There's no grass growing when that motion's made.
Just in this arm on that one.
Are you okay, got lunch program using this room tonight since instead of the
I
other
haven't
one?
set this long.
Just because of the trash. We wanted dirt, well, they use that one today too, so. You just keep
What
matter.
are we doing with this?
I think I have a meeting here tomorrow, so we can probably leave it.
Let's not do this again for another year.
I'm still shutting things down over there.
Oh well. It's the first time, won't be the last time. Maybe.